Hello and welcome to another coaching video, and in this one we have a Diamond Rengar versus a Diamond Viego. Now, this took a little bit of time to find because there's a lot of smurfing going about and a lot of people who are stuck in the opposite direction. So we needed to make sure we found a good solid game with jungle versus jungle in the same skill bracket. Obviously the Viego is an interesting one because Viego mains typically build incorrectly. In fact, I had a good game from him and then he went Iceborne Gauntlet. Don't do that anymore, please. Just don't do it. We've got our Kraken Noon Quiver builds for the 1v9s, and obviously we have the Rengar snacking that baby away and going to the Krugs. So we will have tracking on the Rengar here. The good Viego crossing time from blue side into the red side is usually around 219 would be pretty damn challenger if you ask me, based upon my experience, but I don't think we're gonna get there, are we? No, we're not. So we've done a lot of talk about cross timings in my coaching as well as, of course, in my courses. If you want Master Tier, the Diamond Jungle course is your absolute best bet. I went over every single Diamond coaching I've ever had and Master Tier coaching I've ever had and compiled the ultimate course of gameplay, discussion, theorizing, everything you need to get from Diamond to Master Tier by honing your gameplay, mastering your game style. Not Diamond yet, but still want to know the Master Juice? The course will suit you absolutely fine. Head to virkayu.gg to try the Diamond course and to get an update to the Jungle Improvement PDF. Because it has so much damn value. Right now, 227 we're crossing. So already you're like, okay, well you said 219 for a Challenger Jungler. I did, and I've covered this on my main channel quite extensively. And, you know, 226 in theory will give him an extra second even. He's still down 7 seconds. Now, the Rengar is even slower. Cross time into this zone. This is important when you want to be a full clearing jungler, a 5 camping jungler, or an invading jungler. There's no point saying, hey, Kane's full clearing, Diana's full clearing, Karthus is full clearing, although most likely in the other direction, and then you're 7 seconds slower on your cross timer, which is the timer you need to actually invade, get in their jungle, kill them, and take their shit. Doesn't make any sense. So obviously, as per usual, please adhere to the intelligent and the disciplined nature of... You could not write it up better yourself, as Viego will die to the Rengar. Now, if we just go back to this, and the reason why I laughed like that is because in the course it's literally an invade red side quadrant into an invade on a full clearing jungler going down. Literally the exact same scenario, but it doesn't work out well. And it doesn't work out well because it's lazy pathing by the jungler doing the invading. The Rengar here does good pathing, sticks high and tight, nice angle bracket, cuts in here, sticks close to the wall, nicely done. The Diana wards like a bit of a monkey, like this is an absolute terror shit ward. I hate it. What good does this do you? If Rengar full clears down, cuts into the river, and then sticks to the river as a Diamond jungler should, then you're not going to see anything. Now, is a Rengar going to do this around the backside? Not necessarily, but, you know, for typical practices, he could do. And if there's a lot of CC on the side, it's a very easy flash though, right? If he chucks up Ebola, you will get the empowered one if they stack the gravity field well from the gravity well from the... If they stack the gravity field well, there we go, not a gravity well, then, you know, they still easy flashes and ignites and things like this. You don't have to go into the bush, but obviously we want to go in the bush and that's warded, so that's great. But something tells me this Diana does this ward all the time. Now, if she'd ward it down a bit, we would see this. Viego could play accordingly. Now, again, his clear is slow, and we've talked about this. He could be done pretty soon, but I don't think he's necessarily... You could say, look, if the guy drags the bush into the... Well, drags the camp into the bush, as he should do, and he's got 7 to 8 seconds of damage extra on this camp, would he be within smite range to be able to, at the very least, see the Rengar come, hit that smite button, get the healing, and kill the red buff, and then flash over the wall to ensure he's able to flash and go down away from the bush and at least survive, right? Because the shocking invade is, hey, look, I know you're doing this. I'm going to cut down the red side, invade you, kill you, and take your shit, right? That's what the Rengar's thinking here. Now, he's not paying attention to lane prior, so we'll see the aftermath right now, but you're following me, right? You just want to make sure you're clear as fast as possible for cross timing so that when this invade does happen, again, I had no idea this was going to happen, that's why I'm laughing, then that's great. Then you can smite it, you can drag it out, you can get out. Now, the Rengar's going to stay for this, and he's just not recognizing it. Like, he's just, like, basically, well, I suppose I should try and make sure at least I get the red buff, which I do. I cleanse. He has saved his flash, fortunately for him, so he's actually able to... Let's have a look here. You know, that's the greed that hinders Diamond players so much. Just flash out, flash out, flash out. Survive, get away with it, force a rotation. The red side bottom... The red team's bottom lane, why are you rotating here either? Like... Just take and enjoy the presence. Like, the support can rotate maybe, but you're sent a Kai'Sa lane. just get some sort of pressure and denial. Get yourself strong. I know you're like, hey, let me rotate to the fight, but you know, I'm not really a huge fan of leaving lane like this. Viego's going to come out of base here and go straight for the center. The center's just giving it back. The Kai'Sa does kill the Diana. The center also dies because the Proud Thing was so disjointed from the rest of her team. Now the Nautilus hits the hook and it's absolute just fiesta mode here. And it shouldn't happen. None of this should happen. And a lot of Diamond events are because junglers and laners lack a jungle lane interaction, both directions, right? The Rengar makes his players no prior. They collapse, he could still get out, which means his bottom lane could chill, get a bit of an experience advantage. That's huge in bottom lane. Obviously, it's a center, so it's not like, you know, you're going to be rushing with Leona level 3 or something like that, but the principle more than the point. But fast clears equals better position to handle the randomness, and of course, in this case, if you can get it and get out, yeah, you use a flash. The Rengar made a play because his cross timer, albeit slow, was better because you were slow too, so always try and be efficient with that. Either way, trying to make a play, he did make a play, he should have survived, and he didn't. Now, what we do here is absolutely stupid. We go here, we get kills, we take this, we cut down, and we go to the Krugs again. Now, it's stupid. It's stupid from an experience point of view. I understand why he's doing it from a ganking point of view. But is it worth the time invest of this, right? Leave the base, do this, obviously kill and assist, nice, and we go all the way down again. Right? Because basically what we have is, we know the Rengar's going to go down here. We know he's going to probably outset and will scuttle, which he does. Boom, boom. This will spawn at your 420. This will spawn at your 440. You guys are going to sequence up and snack that up, right? And now he's going to probably look to do something about the Diana not having sums, especially if she's going to push up, not understand this, and probably not have vision on the top side, so easy gank. The Viego now, on the other hand, has two schools of thought. Do I sequence down and try and shadow the possible gank here of the Rengar? Again, I don't necessarily think you know exactly what the Rengar's going to do. You know he's going to do red side, and you know he's going to do this. Like, he could very easily loop back and come down to the bottom side, but like, why are you checking this? This is gone. So you're going to move on down to the Krugs, and Rengar has all the time in the world because he's doing his red side camps. He's just going to do, his blue side camps on the red side. He's just going to do these. Has now the option to cut in and gank, should he need to, because Jin Nautilus, or he can just carry on sequencing, right? And gank this lane, and gank this lane. He's got so many options. The Viego is the one who constrained himself, but if you were willing to bet a bit of money on this and say, okay, look, I know he's going to go to the bottom side, let me go. Well, no betting, bad. Bet some gold on it, maybe. We can go ahead and gank top lane, or we can say, oh, ungankable, I'll take this 420 front camp. I'll E across to avoid vision, or just move intelligently to avoid vision and take this one. If I had cash money gold, I would put a control ward. How nice. But instead, look at this. This is residual platinum tendencies. This is not what you want to see from someone who wants master tier. This should not happen. You should never sit in a bush and wait 10,000 years. In the platinum course, I literally, every game example we had was this kind of invest. Now the Rengar does exactly this though. He does come down and he does a little lane gank, right? And now you're saying, well, look, the Viego was intelligent. He saw this, he understood. You know nothing, sir. Well, I mean, really? If I wait around long enough, I'm gonna, your broken clock is right twice a day. You understand that phrase? It doesn't work. The battery doesn't work, but eventually it will hit 2 p.m. and it will look correct. You can't just, and again, he dies anyway, so it's irrelevant because he's dead. The Rengar decides, hey, look, you know, this guy, if he shows up here and telegraphs it, like that's the thing, right? You're telegraphing the move, 100%, because it's warded here with a control ward. You show up, right, without checking the side bush and telegraph your play. All he needs to know is that, look, you did 4 camp 16 CS. Then you got kill and assist, you get 20. You've moved on down to the Crux, you get 24. You've gone here, so you've got this and this available. A Master Tier Destined jungler should 100% understand that. So Suspicious Panda 7 should understand that. So should you. There's no reason for us to basically think, hey, look, the Viego's gonna, you know, exist and go up to this, this, and this. We don't have this timer exactly, but you can kind of know, okay, look, at the 5-minute to 5-minute 10 marker, this camp will spawn. So does he now go back to it? Or does he hang around for the gank? That's the question that Rengar is now asking. But the Viego is the one that draws him to this, right? Your actions draw the enemy jungler to a location. You distract them from what they would have done, which is why I like anonymity so much, because if we just stayed here and anticipated he was going to do this, and we were able to snack these things away and cut back to this, now all of this is available. We've denied him a quadrant. He's in a box, Schrodinger's cat almost, and right? Now we go to the next phase. But because we telegraph and tell the world what we've done, the Rengar basically just says, okay, look, I know you're coming down here. I can lane gank this. If you're not here, I will just get the gank 100% because we have the ability to do so. Now, Nautilus goes in like a bit of an idiot, so we know that much as well. The blue team has no idea that the Rengar's going to show up. The Viego's anticipating it. But hopefully you can see the pros and cons, and this is the kind of thing that I liked to talk about in the course, but also all jungle coaching in this MMR range. There's a lot of give and take. By that I mean, not the good stuff, but I mean, hey, I have tempo. Would you like some tempo? Well, thank you, I'll take some tempo. I've used my tempo, would you like it back? Yes, thank you so much. You're just trading tempo back and forth all the time for no particular damned reason. You know, the Viego had the ability now to do some counter jungling and do some stuff. The Rengar was probably just going to make sure he infused himself. Of course, he could have looped back down and ganked bottom, and that's cool, like he could have done that. Is Diana really contesting at level 5 a dragon with a Senna who has E, and the Viego's going to run in, and we're just fighting over this like a silver game? And now you guys are seeing what I mean by residual low elo tendencies. This is it. Residual tendencies from lower MMRs that still hold you back from making that next leap forward in your life and rank. I'll agree there. Yeah, I mean, you're seeing this, the deconstruction of the early game, and of course I spent so much time doing that, but if you're 632 and you know you're 32 CS, 27 CS, and you're just waiting in bushes and you're like, hey look, I'm getting kills and assists, I don't really care, I don't think anyone cares. I think what we need to make sure is we're having a good ganking outcome, whatever that might be, right? Just whether it's sums or lane pressure or you know, a couple assists and kills, obviously the best outcome into an objective, but you should not be sitting around in a bush basically going, is Rengar gonna lane gank? Can I gank this? Did I show him I was ganking? Of course, the Viego kills the control ward, so we know that he saw us. So that's where the mind game begins. But like, we know this is gone anyway, because a diamond jungler, or at least someone who's good enough, will go for the outside in rule, right? They will take that scuttle crab before they fall back to their blue side. Boom, take it away, do my loop, and a good jungler will just assume it's gone. And that's something I cover a lot on the gameplay channel as well. When you have not so good junglers, as he kind of primes his flash W there to make sure we get that auto Q and we'll get that kill, and that's nice. Rengar in the meantime is like, okay, look, I know you will be doing that. I've seen everything. Now we know Rengar is going to go for the counter jungling, but the Rengar didn't go for it quickly, right? He went for it slowly. So he's not even thinking about the fact that the Rengar would have the goal to do this. Is he assuming it's gone already? Or that he can't fight it for whatever reason? Like, he has atomization advantage. And he's got PTA, which is a bit unfortunate. He should have Conqueror, but you know, hey, I took your shit, forced you to go topside, then I went, you know, down here, and then I showed up here. You haven't shown up on these at all. By this point, you have to finish your red side, so what are you doing? Most likely extending a sequence to try and counter jungle you because you showed mid lane. So your first instinct should go, probably need to defend my blue and Gromp here. I've got Malphite coming up. Dude doesn't have 6 just yet. Oh, he does. I got lied to again. Of course he has 6, because he would have just hit 6. Anyway, he has 6, so he could rotate to this. So we're not necessarily thinking about the moves we should be thinking about. But, again, the thing I talk about quite a lot, oh, we're ready for a face-off again. He just wants to see if the Viego's here, I think. Like, again, the Viego's not thinking about it. Really. The give and take. Give and take. And Malphite's there too. Does he stay to try and do some sneaky? He doesn't have smite though. Does he try and do it without the smite? He didn't even get the bush jump. He dragged the camp out. And now the Zac is rotating over. So the Rengar's being baited in. Sorry. The Viego's been baited into this fight, but the Zac's been dragged in. A little bit lucky there by the Viego. We do get our 6 and we have to use it, unfortunately. Malphite now still has his ult, and Victor rotates as well. Diana's back in the mid lane. You see what I'm saying, right? From one point of view, it's like, hey, this person now has control. Never mind, they wasted it. Now this guy has control. Never mind, now he wasted it. And now he has control again. It's the same thing over and over again. And that's really a distinct breakdown. I had to find the right game for it, but I did. And it's you do have it every game, but sometimes more subtle. This game is pretty damn obvious. But that jungle lane interaction, that understanding of where you need to be, the value of the gank, it's just not worth this. You know, if I can take 5, 6, 7, 8 camps and screw that guy, have such a big lead that I can just gank bot lane and get the kill myself, And I don't really care as much that he got one gank off on the bottom lane if he decided to loop, you know? But if he didn't decide to loop, then I lose nothing. I just deny. So wasted opportunities from the Viego, who's now running towards a turret. And of course, we know that the Rengar's coming down to this side because he took the Herald. I brain farted and said he didn't take the Herald, even though very clearly did. So he's got the Herald that have popped up in the game. You hear the sound of the void screeching. And you know that because he did his top side into your blue side, pushed you off and then took a Herald, where's he going next? Most likely coming down to his blue side again because he's got a juicy ADC with no mana. He has his blue Grub Wolves. He knows you're down here because you decided to run past the town and telegraph again where you're going. You telegraphed it again. And when you telegraph it, good players will say, hey, no, they'll punish you. Now, of course, you look at the map as while you're doing that. Yeah, he's coming from base, but Jhin is not. Jhin has 1,100 in pocket. Victor has Prior. There's a crab on the top side. Why are you pushing a blue buff here when the whole team of the enemy is going to be showing up to make this fight? Now, we do hit the hook. We do go in here, but of course, he has a W button. And of course, we have Dark Cleanse as well. The Victor shows up. We'll most likely try and pick up some kills here on the target, but he overchases. Dyna's probably going to go and kill the Rengar, which is obviously great for the blue team to get something back, but now she's out of position, gets hit by the Senna W, and then Senna cleans it off. So in the end, a 1-for-1. But why do I feel like... Well, red team definitely won, but the fights we're forcing here in the bottom side are feeding the Kai'Sa as well. Like, they're winning lane anyway, but like both ADCs are fed at the very least. Well, not fed, but like, well... Literally 500 gold separates them. So yeah, they're both fed. So we can play around both of them as win con. But we're forcing this action through suboptimal pathing. Anyway, let's see what we do with whatever it is we're doing now. Obviously, we have enough gold at this particular stage. Please don't go Blade first. The win rate on that isn't so good anymore. There's a bit more focus on farming and denial at the moment. So the new Quiver does provide you a lot of value. Yes, Kraken Blade is still the best way to go by default. Yes, you can do your Kraken Black Cleaver. Yes. There's other tech you can go, but, you know, if you want to 1v9 and carry games, 1v9, carry games. And obviously the ability to do camps faster is always valuable, especially at this particular stage of the game. Now, Rengar goes to the bottom side here. He's going to hit a Bola onto the Dyna, who now has ult. She will just go back in. He's doing it in a minion wave and dies. And in the meantime, we will move to the mid lane here. We can probably do something to kill the Senna pretty easily, but we choose not to. You don't have to take the soul if you kill her. The Zac pushed in and moved down. So this is being pinged away. You can very clearly see the pings going off. He did not see the Zac move down while the Rengar was dying versus Dyna. So you can go back in the video. You'll see that happen. The Zac pushes and moves on down. And I'm going to die because we're level 7 at 12 minutes. The ADC is level 7. Our ADC is level 8. We're behind our own ADC in experience. Both junglers. What? What? No. Must never happen. Must never happen. Really tragic jungling on both sides. Lack of control. Lack of using the control when they had it. Silly invades and moves that kind of compromises your lanes a little bit. You're coin flipping, right? If they rotate, if they don't rotate, and so on. Now we're going to go Wolves into hopefully Grump into blue for the good sequencing. Wasn't going to do it until the blue didn't show up. The Zac is now really far ahead. The Malphite is very clearly struggling. That's fine. We can handle that, right? Like a losing lane with Malphite, we can deal with that because all he has to do is hit one thing. The Rengar basically summons that, crosses the river here, sees the Viego out of position. Is this the move? No, it's not. I mean, if you're talking about an entertaining game of fun and fisting, this has it. Yeah. Fun and fisting. Yeah. At this point, a lot of people will say, well, this is Diamond? I can't believe it. Remember, they're playing Diamond vs. Diamonds. This is what they're doing. You know, these kinds of plays, these aggression plays, and the kind of coin flip will work better the lower down you go. But you've got to be able to refine your jungling, your pathing, relevant to what you want to do with your lanes, with what your lanes need. As I'm chatting to the camera, make sure your F key usage is good, especially when you see your Kai'Sa fighting a Jhin and you see the low HP. Nice smite, nice rotation. Good job, Rengar. But yeah, you've got to step it up. It's not just you by yourself. It's the jungle. What does he want to do? How can I shut it down? How can I accentuate my win conditions? What are my win conditions on the team? Which lane do I want to play around? Do I want to deny him from a ganking perspective, or do I want to focus on counter jungling and map control and then use that gold advantage to kill people 1v1? Now, we know the Kai'Sa went up. We know the Rengar went up too, so we're in a bit of a bind here. We're going to try and hit everything onto the Kai'Sa. Malphite says, I am here. I arrived. Nice route by the center, but you most likely will die unless Zac comes to save you. We don't really have much left to go. The flash hook obviously works. Be careful, the Zac is rotating. And they overcommit. As per usual, Zac rotates with damage as well. Good champion. Fun champion. Engaging champion. But again, like, when you win lane that hard, obviously he's fat. It's going to be fine. So basically, from this point of view, I wanted to focus very heavily on... Well, you might be 5-4-2 here as the Viego, and then you look at the Rengar 4-4-4, and you think, okay, look, we're both doing solidly, we're having decent games, and then you look at it and deconstruct, you're like, whew, no, actually, we're not. And a lot of it comes down to that cross-timing early for the Rengar invade, which, of course, he leveraged very, very well. But now he's just running into the jungle willy-nilly to go ahead and get kills because he can. Now, he was down 2 levels, but it doesn't matter because he's really far ahead in terms of cash money gold, 6.8 to 6.8. Which you're saying, well, wait, he's not ahead. I'm like, well, she's 11, he's 9, and yet he has the same gold. So when he's 11, right, you'll have so much more. But obviously it's just Rengar out of a bush, so we know we can get that kill. Either way, I am concerned about the fact that we didn't survive here's Rengar. I'm concerned about the fact that the Viego thought it was a good idea to go scuttle down to Krugs, to shadow, and to look like, I don't even think he was necessarily shadowing. I think he just went for the scuttle, saw it was gone, saw that it was warded, cleared it and thought, well, now I've telegraphed where I am, I better wait and wait and wait and wait. And Rengar still ended up making the first move because we were just not in a good position, right? It would have been better just to deny and find another thing to do, or counter gank later, as I mentioned. Very, very messy. Very messy game, obviously. That's why if you were basically say, give me this game from a coaching perspective or course perspective, we could spend an hour on this very, very easily. We could slow down even more, extrapolate even more, really deconstruct it, because I think you have to. Again, Viego hits a nice little flash W there. We'll get that kill as well. Obviously, we don't get it. We'll become the Rengar. We do miss the battle. We will die for it. Oh, I actually thought he was 100% dead, and then for a second I thought, maybe, and then, yeah, he died. A lot of unnecessary fighting. I don't like unnecessary fighting, but yeah, both junglers are in the same boat, I think. We can agree that. We tried some stuff. It didn't really make a lot of sense. It was aggressive. It wasn't thoughtful. We put ourselves in precarious situations and it cost us. Now it's 15-22, 37-31. We could go over this game super duper slowly, but I figured I have gotten my message across over what I wanted to cover for this particular game, just to give you a bit of a, I don't know, like a taste of the kind of things we can deconstruct. What it effectively comes down to, though, is just the red team snowballing a bit too hard. Zac plays a beastly game from what I could see. They group up. The Malphite is a bit of a rock in his head. Viego's out of position. Clearly contesting the Baron. They're out of position. Worst thing you can do in these cases. I have made a mid-game video on the main channel, right? So for all my levels of content, I wanted to basically have a go-to mid-game. Come on, one more. There we go. A go-to mid-game link. Because there are a lot of consistencies over all of the games in terms of what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, whether you're ahead or you're behind. And on the main channel, it's very easy to see. 95% is in the title. Mid-game is in the title. And you'll see that it was released last week. I'll link that below as well. That will cover all of the outcomes that I'm trying to watch this and explain it at the same time. I'm like, what am I watching this game? Really, it's a bit of a nonsense game, isn't it? He still isn't able to kill the unkillable Zac. Really funny. Dragon is up. Rengar's just probably going to hightail a little bit to that. We could go ahead and do it ourselves, but from our perspective, everyone's topside. So I will link that mid-game thing below for the macro and the discussion and what you want to look for pathing-wise and pick-wise ahead or behind. But I will say a cool little strategy is you know they're going to the Baron there. We have a bit of advantage currently. Let's go sneak this Baron. But you have to be really sure that nothing's warded. So you have to use a full 10 seconds or 12 seconds in the future to scan up and make sure you're getting that unimpeded. But that's a cool play. In a losing game, I will literally give them the soul. I don't like this. I don't like this. Jim was up. Jim was okay. You know, could we have possibly, like, this is a good activation. Activate this. bum rush this one. They're doing this. They're disjointed. Burn it, burn it, burn it, burn it, burn it. If you have to turn to the person rotating, do so just to keep numbers advantage for the next fight. But if you can burn it and finish it, and then run, it's worth giving up the soul. Because now, especially in this case, it's not a very good soul. You can kind of just hold a bit, try and maybe get a pick and push. And if you can do that and get some bounties on the turrets, maybe push up to an inhib, maybe, right? You're behind. You got to try something. And it's better to try and do the old switcheroo there, give them the soul, and create a map state where you can do Elder with your vision prior, with your map prior. And the Baron is what allows you to shove and push a little bit and get some deep vision. And then if you can get one pick with a Malphite ult and one good play, the Elder's yours and you can end the game. So even in these kind of close game states, there are definitely ways for you to get around it, but flashing into this map, flashing in to try and kill and steal a soul that isn't even that whelming. Isn't that whelming? Overwhelming. It's underwhelming. I am whelmed. It just ain't it, right? So they'll get the cleanup here. There you go. That'll be a Baron. And then that'll be shove and end. So hopefully you can see, I didn't want to go through all of the nitty gritty of that fight and the rest of it. It really was not interesting. Just wanted to talk about that early game strategy because people get turned around quite a bit. Don't sit in the bush for 60 seconds. You shouldn't be in the first place. Because worst case, you're doing this into this into this, and you can just sequence down anyway. And if he wants to wait in a bush and get a kill for that, then while you're doing this, you go, oh, okay, thank you very much, I'll take this. Then you can make other plays, gank mid lane, drive through here. Like, you can always offset bottom lane. There's always strategies in the early game. There's always a way around what's going on through your tracking. And again, the Rengar got told everything by the Viego and was definitely a little bit too aggressive and died for it, but his lane has played well. He played well in terms of capitalizing on that. There we go, Malphite. There we go, Diana. There we go, Viego. But it is not enough. They are too far behind. Victor backline, Senna backline is too much. And Zac frontline. Nicely done by the red team. Rengar did okay in the end. Viego just, I don't know, the pathing, the fighting. Regardless, hopefully you can see some pros and cons for the decisions we make. And as always, I will see you all in the next video, in coaching, on the course, or in the Discord.